Hello and welcome to the podcast from Stress to Success Blueprint. I'm your host, Lolita Gorin. And today is a bonus day where I'm inviting amazing people to speak with you about what they do and how they deal with stress. And today I'm super excited because we have Tracie Schmidt, and she is a founder and the CEO of Roar Loud Marketing and and a seasoned mortgage professional known for her marketer first, loan officer second approach. And after 2 decades in mortgage industry, Tracie launched her Roar Loud Marketing to help professionals to build powerful brands. And today, she'll share her insights on standing out in that crowded market, but also she will share how did she do it with all of this going from one thing to another one, from mortgage to marketing, and that must be stressful. So how did that happen, Tracie? And welcome.
Hi, Lolita, and thank you so much for having me. And I'm actually still doing both. So I can definitely talk about the stress of running two businesses as well as the stress of just the real estate and mortgage market that not only we're feeling as loan officers and branch managers, but what people are feeling out there in the market. I think there's a lot of uncertainty and stress about that as well. So I can't wait to answer any questions that you have.
So, I would you mind telling us how did that happen that you were just mortgage thing and then you just became this marketing? Because looks to me like those are two different things at all.
Yeah, I mean, any business owner, for me, being a mortgage loan officer, I don't buy leads. All of my business is based on referrals. And so I needed to find a way to educate people with my expertise. I need to find a way to build my brand and get the message out there of what I do, not only to my current clients, but to prospective clients as well, when social media really started to pick up. So I've been helping families build wealth through real estate for 27 years. Really, the last 10 is when I've implemented video to help build my brand and really get the message across to people as to what I do. Because a lot of times business owners are behind the scenes, right? And they're really good at what they do. They have a great product or service. But unless you get that out there for people one way or another, you're really just keeping it in, right? Keeping your expertise in. So the way that I shifted to, Roar Loud Marketing is I that's my favorite part of the job is marketing and video and training and coaching and teaching. And I'm like, hey, if it worked for my business and I've been really successful implementing that, what can I do to help other business owners and entrepreneurs build their brand, using digital marketing strategies, using video, standing out amongst, like you said, their competitors. And so that's how I made that shift, as I took what was working for me as a mortgage loan officer and then created a platform that I could now teach and coach entrepreneurs and salespeople with.
I marketing is one of the things that I really don't know how to do it. I know, and so many uh, amazing businesses that I met, they are great in what they do. They love, they have this passion, but like you said, they have no idea how to do the marketing, and especially these days with video and everything. There's a great opportunity for everyone to kind of jump out and say they put the stand up on their own soapbox. But lots of them that I talk with, they're just afraid of exposure and putting themselves out there. So, what would you say for those people? And by the way, I want to tell you, I saw quite a few of your videos where you teach about like mortgage and the money and all of this, and you put so much of value in that. It's like like we don't have time for listening for 2 hours or something, but when you give those little tidbits and I can memorize them as well. So those are amazing. And so, what would you recommend when people are stressed out? They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be in front of camera. What I'm going to say?" Is there any tips you can give somebody who's all stressed out about marketing and putting themselves out there?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why I started this company, because usually the stressful part of it, the biggest thing was people saying, I don't like the way that I look on camera. And it took me a really long time to be comfortable with myself and be confident enough in my expertise as a loan officer to to know that the way you see me in person on Zoom in meetings, networking events. It's the same person I am on video. And it's a mindset shift, right? Because people stress so much that they don't like the way that they look. Well, guess what? That's the way you look, right? Your nose is the same, your eyes is the same, your weight is the same, your hair is the same. So I really took me a while to overcome that barrier. And then the next couple of objections from people are they don't know what to say. They don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't know how to edit because, you are a stress coach, you're not a video editor, right? And then they don't know how to post it properly on their social media channels. And so the video platform that we have for people when they work with us takes care of all those things. We provide them the scripts, we edit their videos, and then we connect all of their social media platforms into one place. So when the video is done and ready, they hit a button and it goes to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, any type of social media accounts they have. So it decompresses their stress level of having to learn and know all of those things, and it's a done with you and done for you service that helped me overcome some of those obstacles when trying to build video into my business on the mortgage side of things.
I know. I remember I was in the, I think it was the Brendon Burchard conference for coaching summit last year, and there was this amazing lady came on the stage. Brandon invited her, and she said, "Oh my gosh, a whole year I was holding myself back because I was afraid, that people will see, how chubby I am, and they will hear my voice. So my English is not perfect because, she was speaking some other native language." Um, and overall, we all connected. We're just sitting there. We're thinking, "Oh my gosh, this I don't want to get on video and put myself out there." But me as a stress management coach, I always ask myself, like, okay, well, why is that we afraid to put ourselves there? Because probably there was some childhood pattern that we learned that we always need to look the best, and we probably had in our childhood that they said, "Oh, don't wear this, don't eat this, look at this, look at that." And when I tell my clients, like, if they are afraid of judgment from other people, I always say, okay, what is that about yourself you're afraid to show? And then ask yourself, where is this really coming from? Because probably it's coming from, your childhood, that somebody like your mom or dad or sister or even a classmate or neighbor or somebody just told you something, and it really recorded in your brain, and you continuously rewinding that. So I invite those who find out, like, oh yeah, like I totally know, this is my sister used to tell me that I'm, my left eye is smaller than the right one, or something stupid, when the kids say, it just kind of sits in there. So I invite those who can identify there's where is something coming from, disqualify the one who gave that something. Because when they give that opinion about you, it's like, now you ask yourself from an adult point of view and say, okay, so my sister, that she was, 10 years old and mean, and she told me that my left eye was smaller than the right one, like, is this really valid? Like, is she's the
Yeah.
authority, that she's the expert in this thing? And then we can say, oh my gosh, that just kind of sounds ridiculous. And we kind of get over that. That helped me a lot to understand that, when I was like, okay, who was really telling me that I'm small? Who was telling me that, whose voice that's really the critique that I'm giving to myself, because we keep on repeating the same things that have been told to us when we were children. So, and then another second thing I want to add on what you just said. As a stress management coach, I always tell people they need to delegate, because you cannot wear all the hats, and that's the problem. And when I was interviewing about 200 owners, those that were the most successful, they said that they made a lot of money. Now they're happy, not stressed out, because they're delegating. So,
Yeah.
and then they can spend that time for something that they really like and they're very good at. So that's great, the things that you do.
Yeah, and I've always had the mindset, I mean, in business, you have to spend money to make money, right? And now it's really difficult. Our economy's, even though it's booming, I mean, people are struggling with their finances, and business owners and entrepreneurs, right? Our businesses are up and down because we're dependent on other people choosing our product and service. And so, I try to provide as much value to people and try to make it to where it's not only helping them, like you said, balance work-life balance and have a really good platform to use, but also be a support system. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs don't have a team. They don't have a boss. They're their own boss obviously, right? So working as a mortgage loan officer and having my own branch for a long time, you have to be self-motivated, you have to be self-disciplined, and you are really teaching yourself a lot of these things. And so my goal is to help people overcome the stress level that they have with what they don't like about themselves, right? Admit it out loud. For me, it was always my weight. I mean, I remember from a really young age, I was at Weight Watchers, I think, by the time I was like 10. And so it was always like an Italian family, right? And they're always like, lose weight. But then we would have dinner on Sundays with like bread and pizza and pasta. And it's like, wait a second, you show me love through food and then you want me to not eat the food. So that was my battle, always. And then I just thought it's interesting too, because you could see when I started video, I was in a little bit of a dark place in my life. I just recently was divorced. I was definitely heavier than I am now. And to see the progression of me doing video then, where it was so hard for me and so stressful, to now where I could tell that I look different, I'm more confident, I sound different. And it was really because it's something clicks. I mean, if you can change your mindset, like you said, and not think about the smaller eye and not think about your weight and not think about your nose or whatever it is that you have, um, and know that you're providing value to someone, right? You as a stress level coach could change someone's life to where they could make more money, they could do more things with their family, they could have work-life balance. For me as a loan officer, they could pass a house down to their kids, they can invest. I mean, we have such value as business owners and entrepreneurs that we have to get it out there for people and get past our own insecurities.
No, I also know that right now with rise of AI and all the things fake, let's put it that way. A fake, I'm saying not wrong, but created, let's say. It's not there's like not a real person behind it.
Mhm.
I think it's great that we can use AI for all the things that can save us time and delegation. That's good. It saves us energy. But I also think that it's showing us that authenticity, to be who you truly are, became very valuable, and the more and more it will be valuable. Before then, it's like if you the one who's talking on the video, it's like, yeah, okay, you're just talking on the video. But now you can have a video that's created by AI, and suddenly people now, oh wait, now when you talk on video yourself, you become more valuable because now we can compare it to something. And
Mhm.
authenticity is really it's very important. I remember when I started my podcast and all the videos, I would see so many people like putting like the music and looking perfect and have the headphones and the fancy background. I'm sitting like between two bookshelves here, okay? And because for me that was it was about the messages, like what is it I'm really giving in the world. So look, for those for anyone who's like has a business owner, or even an artist, or even a mother, anyone who's struggling with this fear of like, oh, I'm going to be judged for who I am, to realize that, okay, I'm just being me, and I'm just giving my message. What's the most important thing? To give the message out. But also when we show up on the video just the way we are, people can relate. You're like, oh my gosh, like I have a left eye smaller than you too, and
Yeah,
so they can relate, so they can trust you, because people, the more and more we have into more this technology and so much of marketing that's being, like I probably you too get plenty of emails of saying from different country, I can take care of you on your marketing. I'm going to make you a millionaire. You just send me your credit card. And it's like, you do not trust anymore people. So when you see someone one-on-one, like a video that's very authentic, and like I do not edit my videos because, well, that's me, and I say something wrong, oh well, this is me. But I think
yeah.
people buy products only through the people that they really trust, and when we can have enough courage to show up who we truly are, that just works really in our favor.
Absolutely. And I try to tell people too, like your client avatar, right, who you're speaking to is different than mine. And so the way that I come across in video is going to attract the people that like my personality and like that I use a little bit of humor and like my confidence, where with others, they might be like, whoa, this girl's too much, right? Like I can't, the roar loud thing, the marketing thing, the video thing, like not happening. And so you just You really have to get specific in who your target audience is, who you're speaking to, what your message is, be authentic. And there are so many people out there that are on social media and all of these platforms. I mean, the average consumer spends at least 2 to 3 hours a day scrolling through their phone and on their desktop looking at video. They share video more often than images and text. And so, again, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you work with people stressed about growing and building their business and making more money. One really easy thing that you could help them with, is suggesting to implement video and building their brand, doing different things with marketing and not doing the same old thing and changing with the times.
And the whole thing about the delegating is really, I think it just goes again back, to whatever we learn as children. It's like, especially when it's been told like, oh no, you need to do everything by yourself, and how dare you to look weak, and or trust issues or controlling, just being overly controlling, because it really comes from that environment when somebody didn't feel like they were safe enough, so now they really want to control everything. And then they stress themselves out by not allowing other people to delegate and hire the specialists who are really good in that.
Yeah. No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's again, right? It's people hesitate and don't do things because it becomes overwhelming. And there are experts that can help and coach and teach them on what to do. But sometimes when you put a price tag on it, it's like, no, I don't really need that, or I could do it myself. And what I mean, I personally was before this platform, I was spending hours editing my own videos or sending them to a third party company to edit them, where I had to constantly check my email, constantly go back and forth, wait 7 days. I mean, it took so much time and effort and energy. And I'm pretty tech savvy. So you take someone that's a business owner, that may not have grown up with social media, doesn't know what the platforms do and are, or even how to post to them, or even think about editing a video. You have to rely on people that have things to help you, and reach out for help and not be afraid to do that.
So let's shift to a little bit into I'm very interested to see, since you did so many shifting in your life and you went through a lot of changes that could be very stressful. What was the time that you can remember that was stressful, but then you find the ways how to come out of it with, being sane, because you're obviously very well successful woman right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a pretty recent story and how it led me to starting this company. So, again, I've been in lending for a really long time. I worked at the same mortgage company, multi-billion-dollar company based out of Texas, for about 6 years. And the last 6 years, the market started to shift, interest rates started to change. And so I actually got my broker's license, which allowed me to not only do loans, but to also help people with real estate and buy and sell houses. So I made the decision. It was really hard because I left my friends and my family and my team, and I left the company that I was with, that gave me that support and that comfort. And I went out on my own and I became a broker, which is still doing mortgage lending, but it's more independent. You have to definitely know what you're doing, know your guidelines. There's so many different products and pricing and all of these things that are so different. So that move was stressful enough. I had to take all of my social media, all of my content, and completely shift it to an entirely different company, right? And that happened in December of 2023, I want to say, or 2022. Um, then I was there. It was like 8 or 9 months. I finally got my feet wet. I actually won from the National Association of Mortgage Brokers, Broker of the Year for the West Division, one of them. Things were going great. And my old company, the owner, who I had a great relationship with, I respected very, very much, he reached out to me and said, "We have this position back at my old company. We think you'll be great at it. It's called the Director of Sales Technology. You would be working with the entire company, 700 loan officers. You'd be coaching them and teaching them on marketing and how to do all the things that you've done in your business to be successful." And it was a corporate position. I would be part of a team, and I love coaching and training, right? So it was a really hard decision for me, but I felt like it was the next chapter of my life to get out from being a sole individual loan officer and becoming part of a corporate team that could help others and pass it down. So I left where I was. I rejoined my old company, and I was in that position most recently. I came back to the company in September of 2023, and I got a phone call in March of 2024 recently that said the market has shifted, and we need to dissolve your position of the director of sales technology. And when I tell you that my heart dropped, um, it still drops when I talk about it. It still could bring a tear to my eye. So it took everything that I had to leave, everything that I had to come back, and then to get that phone call and know that I had 60-day window to make a decision of either staying with the company and becoming a loan officer again, or leaving the company and figuring it out after I changed everything back, right? When you talk about stress, that was stress. So as a stress management coach, right? I didn't know you then. I would have come to you, and I'd look forward to hearing what your advice would have been. But it made me realize that I could no longer rely on another person to help me pay my bills and help me be happy in my career. And I'm like, with this position, I made a lot of great contacts and connections in technology. And I reached out to them after and said, hey, I loved working with you. I would love to partner with you. Would you consider working with me? And two of those vendors agreed to license their technology to me. And I started Roar Loud Marketing. So that's why it's a brand new business. It just started. People said when one door closes, another opens. And I thought that was BS, right? That's just something you say to make someone feel better. And that's right now what I'm living. I'm working my butt off to still originate because that's what I know and how I make my income right now. But ultimately, this marketing company is coming from the most stressful time of my life, I have to say, of my career. So it's a long
Wow.
answer, but that's what happened.
No, thank you so much for all those details because we all hear a lot of stories is how like, oh, and I did this and there you go, and now I'm successful. But I always was very interesting to see what was the journey, because all of those people who are successful, I can guarantee you there is a journeys that was up and down, up and down, up and down. But then when we listen from aside, it feels like, oh, they just become successful overnight, but it's not overnight. So I'm always very interested to hear how someone got there because when I started my journey, I was like, how do people do that? Why am I up and down? And they just look so great because nobody wants to talk about that up and down thing. And that's why I'm very, very grateful. And thank you so much for being vulnerable and saying, yes, that was a very hard time for me. Uh, because that is very inspiration for someone who's listening to you right now and they thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, I'm going through the same thing. This is the worst thing. And one thing that I realized when I was going through my own stress and my managing stress journey was to realize that I am not alone and I am struggling with the same things that somebody else is struggling, and there is a way out. That was probably one of the strongest pillars of how I build my foundation, what now I teach and coach and talk about. It's hearing those other stories, knowing that other people went through, because then it's just somebody will know, well, if Tracie went through this and she's now successful and she's happy, I can go through that too. So that's truly inspirational. And I want to ask you, when you were going through this time, or did you have any how was your self-care? Did you invest the time in your self-care, or you just bulldoze yourself into success, as I say?
No, I mean, well, self-care meaning like just things outside of business, outside of work. Yeah, that's so important. I mean, I just turned 49 this past year. And so to also have this change at such a later stage of my life and, taking the risk of starting a company like this, I want it to be a story for people of hope. And it doesn't matter how old you are or what your background is. If you have something that is fun and makes you happy and you're passionate about, see what you could do with it, right? That's what I tell people. But I luckily live in San Diego and I'm very close to the beach. I have a killer apartment that I can stare at every single day when I work. And I really took the time to go to the gym, take a walk every day, rely on friends and family, spend more time with my nieces and nephews, barbecue, just things that wouldn't allow me to wallow in what was happening. I had a lot of tears and a lot of anger. And I also tried to pour that into my passion in getting this company started. And it's literally been, I mean, like, 3 months and it's pretty much built. I have clients, you and I are part of a great networking group together. I've been on podcasts, I've been on stage to talk about it. I've inspired other people already. And so I'm not a millionaire. I can't, I'm not
Yes.
making money from it yet. But you have to be able to put all of that aside. And the more people you help is when your success will come to you. And you just have to have that mindset, I think.
So what is it that you do right now that has to do with your stress management? Is that really didn't change what you already said, or you added some other two things?
For stress management,
Mhm.
no, I think I love to write. I love poetry. Like taking time at night and writing down my thoughts or trying to get something that rhymes that I could share with someone. I like to write like little raps. I mean, if you really search me on YouTube, you will see a video of me dressed like a rapper one Halloween, and I did an entire rap video about buying a home. I had a hairy chest. I had like a grill, I had glasses, a backwards hat, and and my name was Ice TT. And so if you look that up on YouTube, I can't believe I'm admitting that, but just stuff like that, just to keep it cool, keep it fun. And I mean, I woke up yesterday and I like lost it on my sister. I was stressed out. I'm like, this isn't going to happen. I just am grinding so hard. And you have to allow yourself to have those moments, but you have to be able to snap back at it and know that it's a short-term thing. Have your little pity party, give yourself the couple of minutes, but then just get back at it because what if what you do can help change someone else's life? And that's what motivates me.
When I was reading a book about why stress is good for you or something like that, it was really just written by some therapist or something that really was doing the research. So the whole book is written only about how stress affects your body, but pretty much it said it's about your mindset. If you will say, okay, this is actually working in my favor, you kind of like the same saying, like if you about to do a presentation, you say, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed now. You just need to say, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's all about
Yep.
the changing of mind. Then it's not really affecting so much of your body, and then you can pick it up. So and that was one of the advice in that book. You said even somebody who is not going for big goals, even
Mhm.
somebody who has like just a family and a mother, or somebody who just watching their dog every day, like something just totally minute that people will think like, oh, my life doesn't matter, why do not impact lives and masses. Just saying that, oh, I just made someone a better life today. Like, you just say, well, I have to help people because I want to help people, and that itself changes the mindset that can help you to get up and keep going. But I really applaud you that you can stand in your power and like, acknowledge that it's okay to be upset, to have those emotions and process them. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you. It's not easy to admit weakness. But everybody goes through it. It's the reality of it. And I just can't wait to be on the other side of it. Where I'm laughing about it instead of like, working 15 hours a day. But, I always tell people I don't have kids, I don't have pets. My work is my life. My employees were always my kids. I mean, I was a manager of a mortgage company at a very young age. At 24 years old, I had 30 employees, and I was responsible for them paying their mortgages and their rent. And it was actually with Countrywide that was shut down during the 2008 crash, which I lived through. And to know that a security guard came into that office and made us all, empty our stuff in the recycle bin and close down shop. That was a really, really rough time at 24 to have to look at all of those people and send them home knowing that their life was going to change. And for me, I had to short sell my own house. I mean, things that happened then that I'm not at that point now because I've learned from it, but you're still at that place where when I got that call about losing that job that I loved so much and I thought I was providing so much value at, to hear that it wasn't enough, value, and it wasn't needed anymore, was a really big kick in the stomach that um I'm proving to them that they made a mistake. And sometimes you need that fire in your belly. Sometimes you need that situation to happen in order for you to recognize, gosh, I really do have all of this knowledge and value, and I could be using it to benefit, myself more and other people and not the company that I work for. So it's interesting.
I also like when we are in the stressful situations, especially when it's very painful and um, that has to do with our own value. And
Mhm.
we think, oh, like they're not valuing me. But probably could be that that has nothing even to do with you. It has to do with the budgeting and somebody else didn't do their job and all this. And also, in that book about stress management and why stress is good for you, you can just really like zoom out and look at the situation and think. And I had clients like that. They will be like they have a job and they have a business, but then they cannot really juggle. It's like I cannot let this go on this and then suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, my company went bankrupt, and now they have all this time and they have to now take care of their own business. And when you think about it, like, well, if that company will never go bankrupt, this person will never have enough courage actually to go and do those things. So it's like, universe or God works in mysterious ways. It's like, well, there you go, you have this opportunity now really to do this. But what, when I know how much you do and how good you're at, I'm thinking, oh, that's great that they did that, because otherwise you will not have an opportunity, to help all those people. So it's like a flood that came and ruined the front floor. Actually, there was a story. I had a friend. She bought a house right by the river, here in Texas, and she said, well, we bought a house with furniture and everything, but the people that were living before, they were, just retired, and the furniture was old and everything was old. And she's like, I really and they have walls like small rooms, and she's like, I really want to have like this open space, and I want to have this furniture changed, but my husband said no, we just spend lots of money, so we're gonna be living with this old furniture for another 5 to whatever years. And then what happened? Flood happened,
Oh,
and
wow.
that ugly sofa was out of her house and on her neighbor's front lawn. Okay. So, and then all of those walls kind of, it's sheetrock, so just melted away. And there you go. She had her open space. So she was complaining to me and she said, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how much it's going to cost me. I listened to her and I said, wait, so you basically got your wish. You don't have the ugly furniture anymore and you have open space now. You will get the money from insurance, so you can rebuild that first floor the way you wanted to, and you can buy now the furniture that you wanted to. And she was like, oh, wait, but that's kind of very weird way to do it. I'm like, but that's the fastest way, the most painful way, but the fastest way.
Hmm. And sometimes it takes people like yourself to just say that, right? And put a positive spin on things and help people realize that, yeah, I mean that's so true. That's so funny.
There was a time that they wanted to have a collaboration, like a book with multiple people giving a chapter, and they wanted to call it "It Was a Blessing After All." The stories that looks like, oh my gosh, maybe I should still need to do that one.
We
I'll put
I
this
I
in
like
my
that
pocket.
idea. That sounds great.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to talk a little bit shifting, and I want to
Okay.
talk a little bit about, we touch base a little bit on your marketing. I'm super happy that I have you here because we can talk about two things. You see
Okay.
how great that
Wait,
is.
so you're gonna keep talking, but keep going. I'm gonna change my background to my mortgage background because there we go. All right. Now I'm Tracie Schmidt, mortgage loan officer, producing branch manager. Ask me anything. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And by the way, those who watching, did you see what she do? she has this QR code that you just can scan it. How cool is that? If you're not doing this, you better do it, because I am already learned from her and I'm doing that too. There.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
if you don't know how to do it, you need to get in touch with her. She will tell you how to do it and will set it up. All of that, trust me, is painless. You will be
So
happy you
easy.
did it. It's so easy. Okay, mortgages. So
Yes.
uh, it, there was this. There's always somebody has an opinion about what to do with extra money. So here's the question. So I heard these two opinions, and they kind of contradict themselves. Um, so the one group of people say, if you have some extra money, buy the property and rent it out. That's how you can have, get more, just build your wealth. The other group of people say, forget about buying a house and renting, because then you need to take care of the tenants, then you need to pay the property, then there's so much of maintenance involved in that too. It's better if you just invest that money in some stocks, whatever, and on top of that, you can travel around the world. You don't care about renters. Hence, with the first group is like, we have to deal with all of this. So, what do you think? Which team is the winner?
Wow. I mean, I would say it's a really personal decision. But what I can say about seeing, even over the past 2 years, I mean, how much homes have appreciated, especially in California where I am. And I'm sure in Texas, you've seen home prices go up. I mean, when you purchase a home, not only are you getting appreciation, but you're getting amortization, meaning you're paying down your mortgage balance at the same time, right? So someone that's 30 years old that takes out a 30-year loan and may not keep that same loan for that lifetime. But let's say they do, right? They have a free and clear property that's appreciating in California 4 to 5% every single year on average. So, are you going to get that type of appreciation in your investment in other ways? Are you going to earn 4 or 5% in the stock market? And so it honestly, I think that if people don't want to take care of tenants and don't want to have that hassle, um, then maybe it's not right, just because that's a different decision of what fits in their life or what doesn't. But I work with people every single day that have a ton of equity in their homes, multiple properties, investments. They can pull cash out of homes and invest it in the stock market and travel the world and hire a property management company to take care of their rentals. There's solutions to every problem, but I would always leave it back to a financial planner would probably be the best person to give that advice. I could give advice on how in your market it could appreciate and what the balance would go down to, what your payments would be, interest rates, but the financial planner could tell you how much you can turn 50 grand into, in 10 years from now.
And I think, if I would have a house that I'm renting, or I have just stocks, what if the stock market crashes totally? The house is not going to crash all the way. You still have something that you can actually touch.
Yeah, I
So,
mean the housing did crash, but thank God we've learned from that, right? So we've balanced inventory and demand. We qualify people right now much differently than we did when the market crashed. And people talk about a recession, and I mean, our economy's doing great. Our jobs report, is strong. Inflation is down. There's lack of inventory with still demand, so people are getting what they're asking for on homes. Things are still appreciating. There's always a reason that people need to buy houses, right? Death, divorce, increasing family members, investment properties, moving out of state, job relocation, military relocation. So it's a huge asset for someone. And so I love to show people the difference between renting and buying, right? What that looks like and how much wealth you could build. And then really giving people options and educating them on what's comfortable for them. Because you may want to buy a house and I could say, hey, go get a house at 5,000 a month, and I don't know what your expenses and budget are. And so you need to have someone that is going to talk to you, understand your budget, understand your wants and needs, and not put you into something that's going to make you house poor. And that's one of the things that I do with my clients is make sure that I'm educating them on options for sure.
And and since I was not even planning on asking this question, but it just kind of came to my mind now. When I divorced 3 years ago, I had my friends like immediately asking me like, "Oh my gosh, so now you're gonna buy another house because you just sold your home, and so now you need to buy another one." And I was like, no, I live by myself. Like I don't have no dogs, no fish, no no cats.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I just, I realized I really asked myself, I was like, okay, what would they want? Because I do understand that having a house is like we already just talked about this. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, so I will have to be responsible this by myself. Now I rent, I'm renting an apartment when maintenance guy, just can call and he's gonna come and change whatever bulb I need him to. Also, I don't need to take care of a backyard, and I need to do a lot of other things. And I feel like I belong to the community because I can hear like the kids playing outside, and I don't feel like I'm alone. I'm thinking, well, if something happens, I can yell, and somebody's gonna hear and call 911,
Hmm.
hopefully.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I'll be in the house, I'm like, that immediately made me. And I tell you, I was shopping for that. I was like, okay, well, maybe like a small townhome. And the more I was looking for the houses, the more I felt like there was this anxiety was crawling over me, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die there and nobody will even know I'm dead.
Such a, yeah, that makes sense. It's not for everyone. The way you put it, it's funny. I mean, I have an investment, a couple of investment properties, but I rent in San Diego because with a view of the ocean, I can't afford a $3 million house. But for me, it's location, right? I could purchase a home in San Diego, but it's not going to be near what I love, which is the beach. And everybody has their different wants and needs in their life. For what you've explained, I mean, I always tell people you're paying your landlord's mortgage for them, right? They're getting the tax advantage, they're building the equity. So it's always good to weigh those options. And someone like yourself, where you're saying that, being in a condo or a townhome where you're surrounded by a community and surrounded by people in that same area, maybe that you're in, or even in that same building. I don't know, if they are truly is it truly an apartment that you're in, or is it a condo? Yeah. So it's different for everyone. And that's why if you felt that stress, you knew that it wasn't the right decision for you. But you could honestly look to invest in a second home somewhere. So if you always go to a different state to visit and you're tired of Airbnbs and hotels, and you could put 10% down on a second home, that's an option. An investment property with a property manager, you can still invest and not have to live there and still build wealth through real estate. So, I mean, there's other ways that you can do it without you having to personally live there and experience all of that yourself.
And I think when it comes to stress management, I learned that I need to really listen to myself. I need to understand what is going to make me stressed and what's going to make me happy. And especially about money and investments and all of this, there's so many people with their own different opinions. And I think if someone comes from the family that there's like, this is how you need to do it, so many don't even realize like, oh wait, I actually have options. I can just
Mhm.
do something differently than, let's say, what my parents told me to do, or whatever some guru tells me to do. I think we live in the time that there's so many options that we just need to acknowledge that, hey, I can make those choices. Nobody has the right to tell me for me. Of course, if you have a spouse, you have to be, you be, two people rowing, in the same boat, then you need to obviously agree with that. But
Yeah.
like there are so many options on so many things. It's just I also know that somebody was just spending money on all kinds of Bitcoin and whatever things, and they got really, put all the money and they lost all the money, and then it's just kind of, we just have to really investigate with the um like with the experts like you who can really give an opinion and say, this is real, this is not real, this is what works for you, and this is what
Mhm.
you can do it.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not even an opinion, it's options, right? It's like you tell me what your goals are, you tell me what you're comfortable with. I'll give you the options that you have, and then it's up to you to make the decision of what is going to work for you. And so that's usually the way that I go about it. And really it is stressful right now because people don't know what interest rates are going to do. We just had the election, which has shifted a little bit what the market's doing. Affordability is really tough right now. So people that do want to buy homes, first time home buyers, younger generations can't afford it because their wages are a certain level and houses keep rising. And now that interest rates are higher, it's harder for them to afford the payments to own a home. So there's so all of these obstacles, right? So my job is to get someone that's even thinking about buying a house and develop a path for them that if they don't qualify today, how could they qualify down the road? What do they need? How much money? What does their credit score need to be? Because that's another stressor, right? Is my credit good enough? Do I have enough down payment? Can I afford the mortgage payment? All of those things. What if I hate my neighbor? Can I have my dog there? So it's really, it's a stressful process for people to buy a home. And, it's sometimes a 30-day process, sometimes it's a 15-day process or longer. And so for me, it's communicating with them, educating them. It's funny, like I love video, right? So through the stages of the loan is a video of me explaining to them what every stage is. So it's like, check your email. There's another video, here's the video. Your appraisal was ordered, just because it puts them at ease and at comfort, and they feel like they know what's happening throughout the process because they have a lot of money on the line, when they go into contract on a home. So, and it's worked. I mean, luckily, people feel that connection with me and they feel the educational piece. And that's why I'm able to stay in business, because they'll refer their friends and their family and coworkers and stuff to me. So, which is great.
And I think what has to do with money and taxes and all kinds of stuff anywhere was money really involved. There is this first, when I just came to this country, I've been told never talk to anyone about money, how much money you have, how much money you make, religion, and something else. I already forgot what it was.
Politics
And
has got to be the
but there you
third.
go, the politics, politics for sure. But what also what comes to money, uh, there's so much of the secrecy. It's like if somebody bought a house, and I remember when my parents came, we wanted to buy a house, and we asked some family members and family friends, and we said, hey, so how is that you buy the house? And they were just kind of like really not even explaining anything to us, and they're like, well, you just go do it. And of course my parents went, and they didn't get a loan because they were in the country like for 1 year. And I mean, how do you know? So then those people told us, oh, we knew you're not gonna get it. So it was like, what? Why are you doing this? Just explain to us.
Yeah.
So there's this mystery of we don't know how this is happening. And if you did never bought a house, then you don't know how that is. But then also because it's money, you're not supposed to ask anyone. And then because it's money, you don't want to show that, oh, I have enough or I don't have enough. Then there is this, you show this, you don't want to be embarrassed, and you want to keep your head high, and then it becomes like this weakness. So I think there is so much of tiptoeing around the money conversation, about the mortgages, about all the stuff that is really just not necessary stress.
Yep.
That's just, it said, oh, you do not talk about this. You do not talk about taxes, like about insurance also. You don't talk about insurance. It's like this mystery, something you have no idea. So it's how it was important to really talk with people that we trust and we know that they can help us, and can be open and vulnerable and say, hey, this is what it is. And then somebody can
Yeah.
tell you really without sugarcoating it, that's this really is and how they can help.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so important. And luckily our company is licensed, in Texas. We're actually Supreme Lending's based out of Texas, out of Dallas. So yeah, so and we're licensed in a lot of the different states throughout the country. And I asked people two questions, and I'll leave it at this. If you're thinking about buying a house, I'll ask you, what is comfortable for you every single month in your budget as far as a payment goes. Just tell me the maximum amount, and then I will work from there. And then how much money total do you have to invest in buying the house? And if I could find programs that have assistance for you, I will look for that, but I need to know the maximum amount and a number that you're comfortable with, because the answers to those two questions help me put them into what type of home they can afford. What down payment options they need, what loan program is available, can they get assistance? So it's really that simple. So if your listeners are thinking about buying a home as an investment and they're stressing about it, think of those two questions, those two answers, and easily you could, reach out to me. And the cool thing is it doesn't cost people anything up front to see if they qualify. We don't charge application fees up front. We spend our time talking to people that could never turn into a transaction that we actually get paid on. So, it's a lot like being self-employed. Until someone buys your product or service, you're working for free. So, yeah, I hope that answered all of your questions that you had. It was so awesome on this call with you.
Yes, I think that that gave me already thinking that I need to start probably thinking about this property that I need to buy for it and still live where I want to live. Like nobody says I have to living in a house. I just can have like an
Just
investment.
have an asset. Exactly.
Yeah. So and there's the last thought. I think the stress management is really overall like a maintenance to your own car. It doesn't matter which way we're going. And when I came through from Lithuania 24 years ago, I learned one thing about this country. Things always change. So it's not about the direction you're going, but is are you maintaining your car? And from financial point of view, it's like, do you have your savings? Do you know where you're spending your money? All of those things. So the governments can change, the rules can change, but are you maintaining your car and you maintaining your pocket and your state of mind? So you do not become, stressed out, burnout, and broken, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, worry about the things that you can control. That's what it comes down to. And don't worry about the things that you can't,
Absolutely. Then that
you
sounds
know?
like the first thing that I teach on my calm process. For those who wondering what she does, there is in description below. I will leave a link where you can go and find out more about the calm process. But I had such
Cool.
a pleasure talking with you, Tracy.
You
So
too.
you already shared some few QRs. I'll definitely will leave the links in the description below so people can contact with you.
Love
And
it.
anything, how else people can find you and what did they should look for?
So definitely the mortgage side of things. If they just look up my name on Google or they look up the Schmidt team, Supreme Lending, I'm all over the place. I mean, I have hundreds of five-star reviews from clients and the Roar Loud Marketing, because it's a newer company, I'm building my SEO and my social media platforms, but it's kind of cool. Like I have a little community that I'm building for people that's a private group. And I'll share the link with you that they can go in and I give tips and tricks on video and on marketing. And it's a safe place for people if they want to upload a video for me to look at and kind of critique a little bit to the in a safe space for video and marketing. So I would love for people that are listening, if they're trying to bring that into the new year, as part of their marketing plan, to jump on that. It's a Facebook group community. So, but just look me up. I'm all over the place.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
to and spending the time. And there were some great answers that you gave me that made me think. And for those who are wondering, should I call Tracy? You absolutely should. She's amazing with marketing and all the mortgages you already can tell. So thank you so much, Tracy.
Thank you. And Lolita, I just love your energy and you're just always so positive. I mean, I know we're on this call and we have to be positive, but you really are. I mean, every networking call, every time I see you and you don't think that I'm looking, you always just have this glow and this energy about you and it's refreshing. So I appreciate you including me in this call. It was awesome.
Thank you.